Welcome. Thank you for joining me. I hope everyone is having a great 2021. Some of the questions that were asked in my emails is about the interview process and questions that might be answered during the interview. I did cover this in the last online video, but we did cover a little bit of everything. So this one is just going to be labeled interviewing for a nursing home administrator job. So you can just always go straight to it anytime. I do have a list of 10 questions that I'm going to go over. If you have encountered additional questions, please leave them in the text below, and we can all take a look at it and add that to our repertoire. Give us a chance to get ready when we are about to get interviewed. My background on interviewing, I interviewed hundreds of people through my lifetime, and I've been interviewed quite a lot. So these are some of the questions that I have encountered and some of them that I have asked. It really depends. If you are a first-time administrator, some of these questions will not be asked to you because you don't have the background, but they can word it in a way to find out if this is a type of person that does the type of things that they are looking for in an administrator. So, like I said, I first started off interviewing kids at Junior Achievement. That where they help kids in high school get prepared for the job market, and we teach them how to do resumes, how to dress, how to answer interview questions. Usually in front of a film, I used to film them. So they learned a lot, but you should try that too. I always try to, like we're doing now, I'm literally watching myself talk, and I'll go back and critique myself later. But that is one of the ways that you can get prepared. Always dress nice. Make sure that you don't overdo it with the smell, and don't have bad breath. Those are the first three keys of getting ready to get interviewed. You don't want the person interviewing you to smell your breath and you like, or knock them out, or have a strong cologne or perfume and go knock them out, because what they're thinking right then is, especially with the over cologne, is, wow, I got residents that got all types of illnesses where they, lung problems and issues. Do I want this person to be smelling like this all the time with a heavy smell around my residents or the residents of this nursing facility? So please don't overdo it with the cologne. If you're going to hit one hit before you leave the house, you might have a 30, 45 minute drive. That's okay. Don't get there and then no. Please watch the way you smell. So, questions that you may be asked during the interview. Number one, and I'm not giving you the answers. I want you to personalize it to you. Not my answers, but your answers. So I'm not answering all these because I want you to go back and think about how you would answer this question if presented to you. First, tell me a little bit about yourself. That's always like one of the number one icebreakers. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And do not go back until when you were 9 years old and telling me everything that happened all the way forward. Stick to your resume. If you stick to your resume, it actually kind of answers some of the questions that were potentially going to be asked later on. So many times when I was asked that question, I just went through my resume, explained a little bit, had my resume memorized so I can hit on certain points where even if it was going to be a negative question, why did you leave here or something similar, if you already explained it and tell me a little bit about yourself, like you might have a problem with the regional and that's why you left. If you explain all that in there, then when he gets to that question, because usually they be like, oh, I'm going to ask you that later on. If you cover that and knock it out right then, it's not going to hit you later, and by that time it's going to be, you're going to wow them so much, and that's not even going to be an issue. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Just go by strictly by your resume. I went to this college and I learned this. And then as you are explaining and telling a little bit about yourself, add in the positives of everything. I got a business degree, which I feel will help me, especially if you're not haven't never been an administrator before. I think that will help me with keeping up with budgets, financials. So use this question to promote who you are to the company that is interviewing you. And you can actually use that if you have anything that you might feel is negative, maybe you wasn't on the job too long, you can explain it then. Or if you didn't get along with someone that one of your bosses, or they was asking you to do something that you didn't feel comfortable with and you gave a resignation, explain it then. Number 2, tell me how you build census. That's going to be one of the number 1 questions. I think that's automatic when you when you go in for an interview. The reason is companies want someone that can build census. They don't want anyone that can't build census. If you show that you can build census, they're going to find somebody that can. Census cures all wounds. I said that in probably like 2 or 3 other videos. If your census is up, you're pretty much untouchable. Why get rid of somebody that's actually doing good for the facility, making sure that the bills are paid, making sure everybody is getting paid, and not running the business into the ground? Census cures all wounds. So yeah, I want to know, what can you do to build census? If you're an administrator and you come to me and I was interviewing you as an RDO, I'm going to want to know, how do you build census? And if you have any issues with that, I did make 2 videos about marketing 1 and 2, which can help you answer that question. Number 3, tell me of a time you went beyond your job duties to satisfy a customer. And that could be asked for new administrators that had previous jobs or administrators. Why is that so important? It kind of lets you know that this person is in it and that they have the ability to go beyond. They're just not just going to come 9 to 5, go home. It's almost compared to Harvard not wanting all A students. They want some B's and C students, because especially if you have curricular activity on there. They don't want a student that just make A's and stay in the room and study all day. They want someone that a B or C student, where they go to group activities, they part of the Glee Club, things like that. So, the
Here's
question.
A summary from HubSpot blog.
I don't know what that was about, but my phone just actually talked to me. So now this question started being asked so much that I like it now, because it gives you a chance to shine almost, because it was a hard question at first, because I do everything beyond. I'm not that type of administrator to just do what is supposed to be done and then go on. I go always beyond. So I had to think about it myself. And when I thought about it, I'm like, well, just things just start bouncing off of me. Well, that's not my job duty, but I did go beyond because I love my residents and I love my families. One time I was leaving and going home for the day, and then there was a family down the hallway, families on hospice, critical care. They wasn't gonna make it through the night. I could see that they was upset. I put my bags back up in my office, went to the kitchen, made sure I had coffee, tea, snacks, let the family know that our conference room is open, and set them up, talked with them, prayed with them, held hands with them. And then, I made sure that everything is okay, and they thanked me for it later. And, even when they was coming after the person passed away, they came by my office and thanked us for everything that we done. Another time, one of my staff, someone was hurt in an accident, wasn't gonna look like they was gonna make it. I personally took them to the hospital and stayed with them until, everything was okay, and then took them back home. But if you live that type of lifestyle and you're just a good person, it's kind of a hard question, because you do so much out of the ordinary. I'm like one of the administrators that actually go to my funerals of people who passed away in my nursing home. So you can always do something fake, but you'll probably remember it more. But when it comes genuinely from your heart, it's really a hard question, because things that I do, I had to learn from my CNAs that you're not like the rest of the administrators out there. They say, oh, you have open door policy. You keep your doors open. You don't mind if we come in here and talk with you, and but I know like family members of CNAs or nurses, and hey, how this person doing? So when it's become a lifestyle, that question is hard to answer. Sorry, I think I got a little sinuses coming on. Number 4, how do you set expectations and monitor their performance? So this question is already kind of built into being an administrator. When do you set expectations and then monitor the performances? Every day you have a daily stand-up meeting. Are you setting expectations then? Are you monitoring performances then? Your weekly meetings. You're going to have like 2 or 3 weekly meetings. That's I'm giving you a hint on the answers to this question. You have monthly meetings, right? Those are the ways that they want you to answer those questions. You use all those as tools to actually set the expectations, and then you follow up and monitor them. That's what they're looking for, seeing if you are part of those meetings or not, and if you are, setting your expectations and monitoring those situations. 5, what type of management style would you say you have? What type of management styles? Do not go in and you don't want to act like you're Clint Eastwood or someone that's going to be like the terror of the South. But you don't want to also look like a buttercup either. So my favorite answer, and you can go Google management styles and see which one you are. But I always say, I'm pretty much, al dente. I do stand for firmness, but I give you enough room to hang yourself. I want you to be independent and work and do your job without me micromanaging behind you. But, if something is going wrong, I'm going to pull you in the office and we're going to talk about it, and let's get it straight and get it better. And if we can't get it better, I don't have a problem going to the next step. So, I can be that direct because I have years of experience, but like I said, usually my staff love me. So even though I can say that, my staff, like I said in the past, I had staff to say, I might not like you personally, but if I did have a sick person, I want them to come to your nursing home. Because if you look at it, people want to be managed, especially if you can do it correctly. 6, what did you like best or worst about your last boss? Now, this is not the time to go irate and start saying my boss was this, my boss was that, because you might be sitting in the same type of personality trait right in front of you. So if you like, well, I didn't like this about my boss, and he always demand these reports, and the person interviewing you be like, well, I demand reports too. So you don't want to answer that question in the way where you feel could be detrimental to you getting a job, if I could say that. Even your worst should not be that bad. And I really don't have any bad bosses. I'm easily adaptable. There you go. So I think, you can take that and add a little bit more to it and go for what you know. 7, tell me a time you had to deal with a difficult person. Some of them say family members, some of them say co-workers or staff. And how did it get resolved? So that right there, they want to know, can you handle complaints, disputes? How do you handle disputes and complaints? Is that 800 number on the wall going to be called all the time? Can you handle and manage this facility? That's what that question means. So make sure, and now that you know the question, right now, you pause the video or after the video, think about that question, the time that you have had to handle a difficult person, i.e. family member. If you haven't never been an administrator before, maybe at your last job, in your life, maybe it's a difficult person that you had to deal with in college or a professor. So that question can be asked for new administrators and established administrators. So just be ready to answer that question when it is brought to you. 8. How do you organize, plan, and prioritize your work? Organization skills. Or you're an organized person. Or you're going to be in chaos. You start working for this corporation, you're going to have meetings at 10, 12, to 5. You're going to have all your information together. You're going to have to know what to say at this meeting, at that meeting. Can you keep up? Are you organized? Or are you going to be the person, I forgot that meeting. So this question is going to show if you are an organized person, your traits of preparing, getting things ready, reports ready, and they're going to want examples of that. When was a time you had 2 or 3 things? How did you prioritize that? Are you going to drop the buck on one thing and something that's minute, and then something that needed to be done that's important, you're going to let that slide? So they're going to want to know what type of person you are with that question. 9, at your last facility, how was your financials? That is a universal question, I believe. Everybody want to know first they want to know about how you're going to create Census, and then they're going to want to know what was your financials. And this usually is just for established administrators. So know your numbers. When you're in your meetings, get a good idea of what your numbers are. Insurance numbers. What are y'all billing per day? If you can't say 400 to 450 or higher, then they're gonna be like, okay, well, this person don't even know how to run a facility. Your Medicaid, is it 168, or is the minimum 138, or is it below the minimum of whatever state you're in? So, and make sure you know your numbers of how you're doing financially. Medicare, what is your Medicare rate? Is it $400 or $500? Case mix, what is your mix between Medicaid, Medicare, and insurance? All that. Keep a good case mix. So just make sure you know your numbers before you go in there. A lot of companies do ask that question that didn't used to ask it a long time ago. But that is now the new question, because everything revolves around Census, and the facility like to make money. Make sure that everybody's taken care of. You can't take care of anybody if you're not making any money. Last but not least, how do you increase employee morale? And you will see that that is usually a question on every interview. How do you increase employee morale? I don't know if I made a video on it yet, but there's different ways that you can increase employee morale. One of the things I usually do is get like $20 worth of lottery tickets, see someone doing well, walk around and say, hey, you went beyond your call of duty because you didn't have to do that, but here's a lottery ticket. I guess I can add that on to went beyond because I don't have to do that. So giving out lottery tickets, running raffles. Maybe you don't want to spend $20 a week and you say, okay, well, I guess do one big thing and buy someone a gift at the end of the month. Give out raffle tickets. One of our best times at one nursing home is when we did that during Christmas, and we was calling out numbers over the loudspeaker, and you can hear people running down the hall or hollering down the hall and coming to the office excited about the gifts. And just the look on their faces, and they would get so happy. So what kind of environment do you think I had? A bad environment or a good environment? When they seen all, everybody, and pretty much everybody won something at the end, but even people who didn't win at the moment, they was happy for the person that won, and they were showing off their gifts, and it was a pretty good time. But yeah, how do you increase morale? And you don't know exactly. You may have an idea just by the questions, what type of administrator they had. Nobody is the same in management style. They might have had the last administrator that was a drill sergeant. People were calling the 800 number. Nobody liked this person. They was always get into it with other employees. And now they asking you this question to find out what type of person you are. And especially one the question about what type of management style you are. Because and I fell victim to this too. If I had a employee that either was terminated or quit that I wanted to replace, they kind of honed in on their negative quality when you're interviewing somebody new. So, and I'm pretty good at when I'm being interviewed, finding out, or I ask, I was like, well, tell me about the last person. And then they, sometimes they are free to say, well, we're not looking at nobody like that person. This person was this, and then that gives you another time to offer, hey, well, that was wrong with that person. This is how I would have proceeded in handling that incident. So, or they might have somebody that was bad at budgeting or census, and they're looking for somebody that is. So that's why these questions, you can see what angle they're taking if they start asking more questions along one line. Because out of one question, if I'm wanting to know if you build census, I'm gonna ask 5 others to follow, and pretty similar, but it's going to ask more based on census. If I had a bad employee and I wanted to replace that person with someone better, let's say with attitude, I'm going to ask more attitude questions. But pretty much they can all be answered similar or the same. So I covered all 10 of these questions. Like I said, if you have been asked additional questions, leave them in the comments so we can all see them. I want everybody, when they go out for an interview, to be ready to go and make sure you get a good night's sleep. Make sure you have something to eat. Make sure you, like I said, drill these questions in your head and your answers. Make sure you're ready for them. There's always going to be an off-the-wall question that you're not prepared for. Just remember, always just say, can you repeat that? And then that'll give you time to think about answering that question. Just a lot of little techniques you learn when you're interviewing or being interviewed. If you did like this video, see, now I'm going to have to go and critique myself on this video. If you did like this video, please like, subscribe, share it to someone that you know that might enjoy this content. I do have, I believe, over 400 subscribers now, trying to make my way to 1,000. But I do want to thank each and every one of you, and I do try to get to your emails as soon as possible. I'm not always currently watching my emails, but I do try to get to them as soon as possible. Like I said, I've been having a lot of questions about the interviewing process and interviewing questions of a nursing home administrator, and this is why I just made this video. If you have any additional things or subjects I should cover, or things that we should take a look at in the future, please leave them in a comment or just email me. Email should be below, or I'll put it in the description section. So again, I hope every one of you are having a great 2021, and Please be safe out there, and happy administrators. Week is coming up, I believe, in June or somewhere. So probably do something special for everybody on that one. All right, great. Hey, everybody, just please be safe again, and have a great day. Thank you.